If you are a gay man who is successful in multiple areas of your life, but your body, your confidence, or your consistency still isn't where you know it could be, this is for you. Because what I've seen over and over again is men getting stuck in the same cycle. They start, they stop, they lose momentum, and then they tell themselves it's because of time, money, age, genetics. But the truth is, that is not actually the problem. In this training, I'm going to show you exactly why that cycle keeps happening and what actually creates a permanent shift so you can step inside the body, the confidence, results that you desire and deserve. So stay with me because this will change the way you see your body and your life completely. All right, fam, welcome to Reset. So glad that you are here. The fact that you are here already shows so many things that you are someone who wants growth, who wants fulfillment, who wants to go for it, who wants to expand. But I also know you're here for a reason is that there are some blocks that's been holding you back from creating the desires, the body, the confidence, the freedom, the romantic life, the true life that lights you up every single day. And from working with hundreds of gay men all around the world, from all positions, doctors, CEOs, financial analysts, waiters, actors, salespeople, performers, what I found is there's a same pattern that holds men back from creating the life that they desire. Now, you may be successful in one area or multiple areas, but there's probably one area that you're not so quite happy with. That's just a bit sticky. My mission on Reset right now with you is to show you exactly how you can break free. But first, what we need to do is actually look at the pattern. Look at what's going on. I've got here the main steps, cycle, the men cycle through. Right. We go through, let me see if I can adjust this so you can see. So we go through, right? A motivation spike. Okay. This is where somebody, if I want you guys to really see yourself in this, whether you've done this in the past, right, or many times, we're gonna get crystal clear first on the cycle. I want to show you how you can break the cycle, make sure you create permanent change, permanent success, just like all these guys I've worked with, and to really bulletproof things. How can we bulletproof your success, right? And the core blocks, what are the core blocks that holds guys back, holds men back? So we start from the top, motivation spike. A lot of men, right, start off, maybe you found this before, you start off feeling motivated. Hey, I want to get in best shape of my life. I'm going to cut out alcohol. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work out at the gym 6 times a week. And maybe you strong start, right? You have a strong start. You start off going for it, you're eating well, you're following the diet to a T, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, right? You're avoiding alcohol, you're doing all the things. And then resistance shows up. Resistance shows up. The old stories come back. Oh, work is so busy. Work is heavy right now. I don't have time to go to the gym. All my friends and family, they're having cake, they're drinking, so I'm going to do the same. I don't want to miss out a feeling of FOMO, right? Therefore, I'm just going to go back, do the thing that I told myself I wasn't going to do. Now, what happens? Your old identity takes over. The old identity, right? Version of you that you are so familiar with. Maybe you've got an identity where, hey, I'm the weak kid. Or maybe you see yourself as the guy who's always going to be a bit overweight. Maybe you see yourself as someone that just doesn't enjoy the gym. Maybe you see yourself as someone who just can't hack food, right? Maybe you see yourself as someone who's like, maybe I can see some change in my body, but I can't. I will really want this, but it's not going to happen for me, right? I really want this. It's just not going to happen because that's for other people. There's an old identity that you are so familiar with, okay? And it takes over. And then before you know it, you are back at square one. And what happens? Then you tell yourself, I'm going to restart again. Goodness, this camera. I'm going to restart, right? I'm going to restart, restart. And the hardest part of all this is that when you've gone through, and I see this all the time, have thousands of conversations with men all over the world, right? When you restart this enough times, you start to accept that maybe this is it. Maybe this is the body I have. Maybe I'm never going to look or feel good in my own skin. Maybe I'm never going to find love. Maybe my love life is doomed. Maybe I'm just unworthy, unlovable, right? Or maybe there's no right guy out there, you know? Or maybe it's that my career is stagnant, right? And it's just not possible for me to make change because status quo. And the saddest part about all this, guys, is that when you start to believe in that story, you run through the cycle enough times, all of that life force energy in us, the energy, the zest for life, the spark disappears. And I might guess, whether you're seeing this in your own life right now or you've seen the people around you, you probably notice people losing that spark, where you just go into the default of this is just the way things are. Now, I know you are here because that's not the story that you want. Many of you guys are already inside the Darren Academy, right? Making powerful changes. You're already noticing confidence, body changing, love life changing, right? Especially being here around longer. If you're new to my world, right? Maybe you're seeing some shifts already inside Reset. Or maybe you've been in past challenges with me. You've noticed changes then. Now, my mission for you, though, is that we help you make permanent change, permanent shifts, so that you no longer do this cycle thing, right? We no longer do this thing where we start and stop and start and stop. We break the cycle. We move this down or below. I'm going to help you, show you how you can bulletproof your success. I'm going to go through the core blocks. Who's ready to break the cycle? Who is ready? Now, this is how incredible life can shift for you when you do this work, right? I'm going to give you an example right now. Um, Freaking Michael Rodriguez had dropped in the chat here, right? Before starting, there was many moments where he didn't see himself as capable in the gym. There were many moments where he put himself in dating situations that started well, started strong, but always fell apart. Where he couldn't see himself in the mirror and feel love, full love for himself. And life was always tricky and hard and difficult and heavy. But through the work, which I'm going to show you exactly the process, right? Found the love of his life. A man who treats him better than he's ever imagined it before. He's become consistent inside the gym, actually showing up and doing the reps, showing up, doing the work, right? But the most important part, guys, is that sense of self-worth and self-trust and identity has risen, a permanent shift. There's no way Michael Rodriguez can go back to where he was beforehand. And it gets better and better over time. Right. Have you even heard of Ronnie, another client, right? So he started never feeling good in his body, right? Successful in his business, in his career, but always felt like maybe I'm always this body shame. I'm so familiar with it, old identity, right? I'm so familiar with it. I've tried trainers, I've tried diets, I've tried so many things, therapy, right? Spiritual counselors, I've tried so many things, but it hasn't worked. I'm doomed. I've done so many cycles. I don't believe it's possible for me anymore. But through the process, which I'm going to show you on this video, you're going to learn the whole thing, right? Broke free, got into the best shape of his life. I'm going to show you guys photos if you want. I'll drop them on Telegram. Best shape of his life, attracted the most nourishing love in. because love was another block for him. We helped him release those blocks. The fears, I'm not lovable. Maybe he's like, hey, I'm successful and there's no right guy out there for me. I've tried so many dates and it's all ended up badly, right? This sense of failure and almost like this fear of dating again. We broke free in a beautiful, loving relationship now. Now, those two guys, by the way, are just a couple of stories of so many others. So many others. Okay, so let's go through. I want to run through the core blocks first so I can help you guys really see what is actually going on. Now, core blocks, I want you guys to, I'm going to address the different things that you guys have been sharing with me, right? That I've noticed in many patterns. Now, core block number one, and this is probably the hardest thing, facing the truth. That is the hardest thing of all. By facing the truth, I mean you've got to be 100% clear and honest with yourself that the reason why what you have been doing, right? If you haven't seen the results you want, there are some things that aren't working. There's some things that you're not doing, right? There's a pattern you've been stuck in that's holding you back. And this is the hardest part of all because sometimes, right, people can get so caught up. And by the way, I'm very optimistic. If you guys know me well enough, I will stretch. I want to talk about optimism. It's so important. However, sometimes people can get so optimistic in what we call woo land, where you're not facing the truth of what is actually required for change. So you may tell yourself a story like, yes, I'm going to create a dream body. Someday it is going to happen. But if in reality you're continuously making the same food choices, if you're continuously skipping the gym, if you're continuously telling yourself you can do this alone, you're not going to get help, you're going to just watch YouTube, you're continuously doing the same thing and you're not seeing the results, that woke delusion of transformation is not a healthy delusion. It's not a healthy delusion because our actions, right? Our actions isn't matching with our ideals. So you got to face the truth. Face the truth. If you start to face the truth, by the way, the fact that you guys are here already shows me. If you're in the Darren Academy, you're definitely someone that's already doing this, right? If you're in Reset, we're already starting that process. The more you can face, like, okay, this is what is actually going on, boom, we could change things. First step. That's a first core block. Another block. Let's go. Belief. Now, this is the next part, which is so important. By belief, there may, not may, there definitely are belief and stories running inside your mind right now that's telling you that whether it's not possible, it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take so much work, right? I can't get there. If there's, or maybe my genetics are wrong, right? Maybe it's just not right for my body. Maybe I'm too old as my age. Maybe my family, everybody's been out of shape, right? So it's not possible for me, right? Maybe it's like I've tried so many times and I failed, so it's not possible. If we don't help you install the right belief systems where you 100% are dialed in and saying, hey, I'm going to create this result and it's worth it and I'm going to go for it and I get to create my dream body and I can do this. I can do this because I'm surrounded by people who are all doing it. I've seen so much proof of other people in my same shoes who have created what I want. It is possible for me. If we don't create that for you, where you've got this deep sense of belief and faith inside your very deep bones and DNA, it's not going to happen. Core block. Okay. Next one. Next one. Gonna go with healthy. Let's go healthy delusion. And this is the beautiful part why I love this work so much. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, right? Healthy delusion. Early on, when I was about facing truth, there's an unhealthy delusion. Unhealthy delusion is where you're so delulu, like I'm gonna create $1 million, but you're not even starting. You're not even working or going after business. Or you're like, hey, I'm gonna find the love of my life, but you're not putting yourself out there in situations where you can actually meet the love of your life. I'm not gonna go out on dates because I don't want to get rejected. I don't want to be seen. I don't get hurt. But love is going to happen for me. No, it's not, because if you're not putting yourself out there, love won't happen. But the beautiful part, though, this is the part which I want you guys to really get. If you want your dream body, if you want a love life, a marriage or relationship, a partnership that feels so fulfilling and nourishing, if you want a career that lights you up, right, that makes great income, you make impact, if you want your body to be strong, sexy, powerful, this is what needs to happen. Healthy, let's see, healthy delusion. What is healthy delusion? Healthy delusion, I'm going to show you the best story I can give you. As you guys know, I was sitting in my accounting cubicle office and feeling the shame and all the ickiness of I've been on runs, I've been on workouts, going on these terrible diets. I keep on telling myself I'm gonna stop eating all this shitty food that isn't serving me. I've said this so many times. I can't do this. I was on a phone call with Tommy, who gave me a questions. Jared, what if you could? What if you could create your dream body? What if you could help the people you want to help? What if you could completely shift your life in ways that you can't imagine? Yeah, but what if it's possible? What if that is possible? You could lose the weight. What if it's possible you can, if you want to get shredded, toned physique? What if you could build the muscular body, the shoulders, the chest, the arms? What if you can get stronger, fitter, healthier? What if you can? Ask those questions. And I remember sitting in the office on the phone. What if you could help somebody change their lives because you're changing your life? Just one person. My mind said, oh my gosh, if I can change even one person, that is going to feel so much more rewarding than this job that I don't care about. And my mind started to go there. It went as far as me finding a super model ripped guy, right? Got his body, and I used old school paint, right? A little crop around my head and put that my face on top of his body. And when I first looked at it, it sounded ridiculous. It was delusional. Then I was 10 kilograms overweight, couldn't run 2, 3 miles without getting so huff and puffed. My body wasn't there. I've been making all these bad food choices. And that was delusional. But here's the magic, guys. Here's the magic. Because I had the healthy delusion, I allowed my desires, my heart to expand. Oh, Jared, that would be so exciting. Oh my gosh, if I can wear Speedos and rock it out on the beach, my friends being like, wow, that's amazing. Like, how did you do that? Right? Go on dates and have guys like compliment me and actually desire me, find me sexy and attractive, right? Me feeling free in my own skin and seeing myself in the mirror and feeling proud instead of the old shameful stories of discomfort, instead of the feeling of I'm gonna try, but it's not gonna work, but actually feel like, holy shit, Jared, you've done this, right? I went there. I opened my heart to what my heart truly desired, even though old stories of shame and worth came up. Yes, they came up, but I went there. And guess what? I also faced the truth. I also faced the truth, right? I realized, Jared, in that moment too, if I continue doing what I'm doing, surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded by, we're gonna get here. By the way, as I speak through these stories, I really want you to put yourself in my shoes, I'm putting myself in your shoes together. I want you to see how does this apply for you specifically. The more you can engage and see, hey, how does this apply, right? The more it's going to change you, transform you, transform you, transform you. So I face the truth. If I continue surrounded by the same people, if I kept on looking on YouTube, trying different boot camps to train, it's just be like, yes, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, but I'm doing the same things, making the same decisions, right? I'm just going to end up doing the same things. I was like, Jared, you better do something dramatically different. You've got to put money where your mouth is, your heart, soul, energy into this thing, and I'm going to make a change. And I went so far, I left my accounting job and I went for it. Investing, as you guys know, 10K back then was maybe like 20K right now, worth 20K now. I went all in, right? I was like, I'm going to change my life. And even if I fail, at least I'm going to know that I'm not going to live with regret in my heart. I'm not going to live with regret in my heart. And that is going to be the saddest story that I'm never going to tell. I'm going to be the guy who's either going to try and freaking succeed, or I'm going to try my damn hardest and fail, but I'm going to try again. That was the energy. As you guys know, within 14 months, everything shifted. My body, gold medals in powerlifting, physique, confidence, energy, health, my dating life, sex life, right? Everything shifted. I was helping people, right? Running a personal training studio, right? 30 clients back then who were all making changes. It's like, oh my gosh, this dream body in life is real, is real, right? And the most exciting part is this great or great, by the way, right? The most exciting part was me seeing myself in the mirror and going, man, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of the past version of me. I'm so proud of the present version. I'm so proud of the man who decided to go for it, even when it was scary, even when it was the unknown, even then when there were fears and doubts, but I went for it. That is what is required. As I'm going through this, I want you to think about your stickiest thing. What is that desire that is on your heart? What is the block that's been holding you back? What's the resistance, the pattern that you've been stuck in? And I want you to commit right now. I'm going to break free. I'm going to break free. If that's you, by the way, drop something in Telegram. I'm going to break free. Share with us what you're committing to for yourself. Okay, let's go further. I'm going to go further, tell a few more stories. Uh, core blocks. Core blocks, core blocks, core blocks. Then we're gonna get, by the way, please stick around because I promise you, once we go through the whole strategy formula, right, of what actually helps you break free long term, everything's gonna start to click. You're gonna have light bulb moments and gonna, oh man, this is possible. I am activated, I'm fired up, right? And I'm ready to win. Before we go there, though, let's talk about a few things. The things, the stories that we tell ourselves why we can't succeed. Now, time is one of the biggest objections I hear of people who say, I can't get in shape because I'm so busy. I am so busy, right? I have got work, I've got family stuff. It's not possible for me. Now, let me tell you a story of two men, two gentlemen, who have blown me away with their resilience and determination by following what I'm going to share with you later with the framework, right? They made the changes. First, we've got Matthew. Matthew was about 60 pounds overweight, works as a chef, 18-hour days. And I mean an 18-hour day, sometimes starting at 6 a.m. in the morning, arriving at work 6 a.m. in the morning, getting back home, right, at 12 a.m. and then sleep for 5 hours, rinse and repeat. Did not. Would you guys think he had a lot of time? No, definitely no. I can't imagine working 18-hour days nonstop. That was his life. Now, we also found out that his family, right? Family all were overweight, all had health challenges. So by looking at his environment, he always thought, this is just the way things are. But what happened was his father passed away because of health complications. And that woke him up. He reached out and said, Jared, I gotta make a change because I don't want to go down the same road as my father. Working together within 18 months, lost 60 pounds, got in the best shape of his life, healthier, stronger, fitter. He got so good that his family, his mom, saw him, did not have a conversation about this, but his mother lost weight too, who was always struggling with the house. She's gotten healthier too. But I'm going to bring this back to this though, time. Did Matthew have more time? No. There were still many days he worked 18 hours, but we helped him make the shifts, which I'm going to teach you shortly, in his mindset, in his identity, in his nervous system, and we changed the strategy. We're going to run through this, by the way. Keep those words in mind. Mindset, identity, nervous system, the baseline, and strategy. With those things, guess what happened? He lost the weight. He made it happen. Another person. Is this good or good? Great or great? Another story. We've got Jeremy. Jeremy is a father, a cancer survivor, two times, 2x cancer survivor, a single father of five children, working multiple part-time jobs. Now, if I didn't know someone with a full handful of stuff and responsibility on his hands, on his shoulders, right? He is the person, the person that shows what is possible. He was skinny his whole life, right? Always being the weak, quote unquote, weak kid. Didn't really nourish himself the way he needed to. Always put himself second, third, fourth, last place. He always put family, other people, work above himself. And there was this deep feeling of unworthiness. And it's not the sort of unworthiness, by the way, where you will go around the world and tell everybody I'm unworthy, but it's this feeling of unworthiness that showed up in his actions. Because although he had some career success as an academic, he was working part-time jobs, he was looking after the kids, he got so much responsibility, he found it very difficult to put himself first. Didn't have a lot of time. Again, we ran through the structure, right, of everything, the work that we do here, and put on a bunch of stacked on muscles on the shoulders, arms, chest, healthier, stronger, fitter, right? His career expanded. He went from working part-time, right, to actually landing this beautiful position with a great salary in Chicago when he was living before in Finland, traveled all the way there, brought his kids over, right, healthier than ever, came out of the closet, romantic dating life, boom, like sex life. I won't share the details, but he shared like amazing stories of like being on the dance floor and making out with sexy men and feeling freer and desired in ways he never thought was possible before for him. And from the last time I spoke with him, by the way, in a beautiful relationship. Now, and he was talking to me about taking things to the next level. But why I'm sharing this story with you again in time, did he have more time? No, he didn't. We changed things. We changed his mindset around time. We changed his identity, right? How he saw himself, what was possible. We changed the nervous system baseline of how he felt inside his body. We gave him the right strategy so that he's not wasting time doing the wrong things, right? This is the other thing to realize was he said to me like, hey, Jared, there's two things going on. He said, Jared, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to waste, he was already in his 40s, right? I'm going to waste so much time and energy and not see the results. And I want to break free of that. And because he saw all these results that all these guys are having, he said, I want those results too. I want to be like those guys. Another thing was because he had five kids to look after, working multiple part-time jobs, didn't have a stash of cash, right? Didn't just have tens of thousands just lying around just to invest into himself. However, he also realized if he didn't make the leap, if he didn't invest into himself, he was going to repeat the same old story. And he found a way to make it work. And because he found a way, he was so dedicated. That sense of energy that's poured in into the transformation, boom, created the results. As you can probably tell through the stories, in my own story, Jeremy, Ronnie, Michael, who have about Matthew, right? All these stories show what is possible. And if you are, by the way, if you're listening and you're already inside the Darren Academy, you've already seen changes, right? Just see what is possible as we go further, right? You already seen changes. Like, come on, this is limitless growth. If you're on reset, you're new to my world, I want you to have those light bulb moments of what is it possible for your life? Dare to dream bigger, right? Okay, time. The next one that we're going to talk about is money. Now I remember my story, right? This when I was 21, and I invested 10K into myself, which is roughly, don't know what it is in today's currency, 20K maybe. I didn't have the money, right? I wasn't a wealthy, rich kid. I had to go pull everything out of myself to make things work, right? I had to do everything I could to make it work. But what people don't realize, there's a few things I want to talk about is you either pay now or you pay later. In time, in money, in health, you're going to pay later or now. So with money, I don't know what the screen is doing here, right? I found a way to make it work, right? Just like Jeremy did, found a way to make it work. Right? Since then, by the way, I've invested hundreds of thousands, nearly, I think about 450,000 by now into my growth. But it started with that 10K and it expanded. But by the way, I don't share that for as a you need to invest 450,000 to yourself. But this is a story where you start to ask yourself, I had to ask myself the question, what do I value more? Do I value my time, my life, my energy, my health? What do I value more? And what I realized was by investing upfront the time that I didn't think I had. I was working in an accounting job. I had family stuff. I had so many different areas going on. Didn't have the time, didn't have the money, but I made it work. Now, this is the beautiful part. This is the biggest reframe I want to help you make is the story of I get to. Instead of the story of I have to, or oh man, I have to sacrifice my time, I have to sacrifice these things, right, to make it happen. It's like I get to. Jared, I was so lucky that I get to surround myself with coaches and leaders, with people who are all going for it. I get to show up at the gym, even when I'm tired. I get to show up and look after my body. I get to make healthier food choices, even though I so wanted to have that second slice of cake. I get to stop using weed, right? Stop using those knee-jerk substances to feel temporarily better because I would feel better long term, right? That's the magic. So as I'm going through these stories, I want you to ask yourself the question, where am I holding myself back? Where am I playing small in my life? Because I'm telling me myself the old stories of I don't have the time, I don't have the money, therefore it's not possible. Because the truth is, I can bet you, right, so much that from the hundreds of men I've worked with and my own transformations and the incredible communities I've been a part of, I'm investing in right now, right, is that there is somebody out there in the world who have the same, who once were in your same very similar shoes, had the same problems of my genetics aren't good enough, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the energy, I don't have these things, who made it work, who were able to make it work. So I want you to ask yourself the question, where am I holding myself back? I'm so busy, right? I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, right? Okay, very last one. Time, money, health. Actually, not last one. Second to last one, health. Now, this is a weird one. This is the most bizarre one that I find. I get people telling me sometimes of, hey, Jared, I would, right? I would love to get in shape. I would love to get fitter, healthier, stronger. I would love to lose weight. I would love to put on muscle. I would love to build on my testosterone. I would love to eat healthier, make these healthy changes, but I just don't have the energy. I'm tired all the time. My health isn't great. I've got all these health challenges, right? Maybe it's like, I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to food. I just can't break free. My health isn't good enough for it. Or another weird one is like, hey, I'm not fit enough to work out in the gym because I'm too self-conscious, right? The very reasons, by the way, right now that you are telling yourself of why you can't, I'm going to tell you the secret. The very reasons that you are telling yourself of why you can't are the exact reasons why you must. The same reasons why you're holding yourself back are the same reasons that somebody else have used, just like in the same position as you have used to change their lives. I told myself the story, Jared, holy, I'm in my early 20s and my body is not feeling great. I'm feeling my energy, my health. I couldn't climb up flights of stairs without huffing and puffing, right? My health wasn't great. Didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of time. But those are the very damn reasons I said, Jared, you must make these changes. I am so determined to change my life. I'm gonna pay up front. By the way, some of you guys heard me tell the restaurant story, right? With a restaurant, you can go in and order a a piece of steak and fries and a drink or mashed potato. Your favorite meal, sit down, have a nice meal. Enjoy the meal first and you pay after. That's the beauty of restaurants. Isn't that incredible? However, without bodies, without health, here's a secret. Nobody's going to do it for you. You got to pay first. What happens at a restaurant after the meal, right? You got to go and what? Pay the bill. The difference with our bodies, our health, our confidence, there's nobody in our lives, nobody is going to whack you with a stick to say, hey, you have to create this extraordinary physique that you desire. If you want to get toned and fit and strong, right? Nobody is going to force you to do that. You got to be the person to pay first. I'm going to invest resources, time, energy, so that I can have more time, right? I can have more, make more money. I have more clearer mind, more productivity. I'm going to have better health, more energy, so that everything expands. I'm going to pay first. However, most people have the equation the other way around. They say this instead. I'm gonna do this tomorrow. Have you told yourself that? I'm gonna start next Monday. I'm gonna start next month. I'm gonna start later when I have more time, when I have more energy, when I have more money. But guess what? Those things never happen. Have you ever met somebody they just happen to stumble upon a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy? No, they created it. We create it. We create. So you got to run towards it. I'm going to give you the very last one now before this is a mammoth session, by the way. Isn't this incredible? Because once you, by the way, please let us know in Telegram when you watch this, right? Let us know what is resonating, what is lighting up. Family, environment. This is the biggest one I want you guys to hear. There's a secret. Sometimes people say to me, hey, guys, I cannot do this because all my family say my dad was a heavy alcoholic, right? Smoked a bunch of cigarettes, didn't exercise, right? None of my family worked out. They will tell me this. They say, "Hey, Jared, I would love to do what you're doing. I would love to have a fit, healthy, sexy body, right? I would love to have more energy. I would love to have a career, love. I would love to have a beautiful relationship." But my family don't live those things. All my family, they drink alcohol. My family, they eat takeaways often. My family are almost wanting me to eat more cake, right? My dad used to say this thing, "Hi, Jared, this is a weird thing." He tapped me on my stomach and say, "Jared, you're gaining weight. Look at that big belly growing." And I feel all self-conscious. "Urgh, piss off." And then he would say the next day, "Jared, you got to eat more, right?" And then he would put a cake in front of me, put something. You got to eat everything. You can't like eat less cake, you know? You got to eat everything. It's like, how do I don't know what to do, right? And that, if I kept myself in that environment, by the way, guys, guess what would happen? I would stay stuck. I would have stayed stuck. Same thing. The very reason why some people blame, let's say their family, their partner maybe have unhealthy habits, right? The environment they're in isn't good, so they can't. But there are other people like myself and everybody inside the Darren Academy in my spaces, Phoenix Mastermind, they say something different. Because my family and environment doesn't have the environment that I need to succeed, I must do something different. I must do something different and surround myself with the people and the environment that's going to show me a different blueprint, show me a different roadmap, show me a different possibility. I surround myself with people, right, who have incredible health, incredible physiques, people with loving relationships and connections, people who are making impact and income from a growth mindset. And therefore, Jared changed. Let's have a breather. Let's shake it out. If you're feeling, by the way, if you're feeling, I'm going to turn on put up the aircon a bit more. Feeling a bit hot from this conversation, but I want you to ask yourself this question is, this camera, guys. I just bought this new Mac because my old laptop crashed, by the way, and I don't know how to, I'm still learning this, but I think I just need to stop moving as much. Okay, so let me have a breather. Drop in Telegram or write down on a piece of paper for yourself, but it's always great to share, by the way. When we share in a space where other gay men who are all doing it, making positive changes, it does something for our nervous systems where we expand our identity. When you are seen by a room of powerful gay men who get it, who are all doing the work, something shifts inside of you. Something, a part of you goes, "Oh, this is possible. This is possible." So I want you to ask yourself the question. I'm gonna come over here. What story are you telling yourself? I cannot create change because I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the health, I don't have the family or the environment. And I want you to use these words instead for reset. I want you guys to use these words instead and say, hey, instead of "I cannot because of these things," I want you to say this out loud with me. I, Jared, must invest my time into this very thing that I know is going to change my life because it's going to create more time for me down the line. I, Jared Bruce Lee, your name, I, Jared Bruce Lee, must invest resources, money into this very thing that I'm not so good at yet. I don't have the skills, the strategy, the mindset, the identity yet because I'm going to put myself in places, right? Invest So I grow and expand. Jared Bruce Lee expands so that money can't help but flow in. All money is, by the way, is a reflection of the value that you bring in the world. And when you invest into yourself, pour into yourself, your value rises, and therefore money's going to flow to you faster and higher. Now, next thing, health. I, Jared Bruce Lee, because my health isn't great. I'm having chronic health issues, or I don't have the energy. My sleep isn't very good. I'm eating terribly, or I'm drinking alcohol. I'm putting substances in my body that isn't good for me. I'm scrolling late at night, right? I'm doing all these things that aren't good for me, and my health isn't the best, right? Or maybe I'm overworking. I'm going to the gym all the time, 24/7. I could chill out a little bit more. Because my health isn't so great, therefore I must invest into my health so that spend the energy so that my energy and health gets better. Last one. If my family, I don't have the right environment, because not, if you look at the five people around you, by the way, think about all the conversations that you have, right? I'm going to give you guys, sorry, a quick detour on this. I know we're going quite long on this today, but I really is this incredible and incredible? I want to give you guys so much value, right? So much value that even if you just take one little nugget from today, you are going to shift dramatically. These are all stories, by the way, and lessons, principles that I've used personally, and hundreds of guys, when applied, is going to completely transform your life. And that is not a cliche, quote unquote, but truly change your life. And I've seen that, right? In visceral terms for myself and all these incredible men that I'm so privileged to work with every single day. So, quick nugget here, family environment. If you look at, I want you guys to think about the five people you speak with most often, conversations. Maybe you listen to podcasts or maybe you watch the news, right? I want you to think about the conversations you have, let's say around your health. Are the conversations the sort of conversations where it inspires you to be better? Are they the sort of conversations where you feel, wow, I can be more, have more energy, I can have more health, right? I can look fitter, sexier, I'm gonna be stronger, I can be that, or I can see myself in the mirror and be so proud. I can wear Speedos and rock it, and like, yes, I feel good. Or are they questions like, my family's going through health challenges. People lack energy. You're having conversations. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, same old, same old. Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm ill again. I'm sick again. Yeah, I'm having these health challenges. I'm tired here. I'm achy here. Right? That's just part of life. It's part of age. It just, yeah, my genetics just not good. Oh, I'm so tired. I don't want to work out. Hey, let's go have another meal of KFC. Let's have another drink. Now, this conversation is so important because if your conversations, by the way, are the conversations of the latter, I just want you to know that if those are your only conversations, that is the path you are going down. However, however, if you're like, I better have different conversations. I want something better. If you plug yourself into an environment where people are all talking about getting healthier, showing up in the gym, even though it's hard, they're making healthier food choices, they're investing into themselves, they're doing the scary thing, they're putting themselves out there on dates, they are finding love, they're creating incredible relationships, they go on a date or a relationship that went through a difficult divorce, a relationship that broke their heart, they pick themselves up, and they're fucking created this phenomenal relationship, right? Travis, he's a great example of that, right? Came through 8-year divorce, 8-year relationship divorce, heartbreak, down in the pits, feeling like his relationship wasn't possible, his health wasn't good. We built him up one step at a time. Now he has this incredible physique that is magazine worthy and has this beautiful relationship that was that's 10x better than his previous relationship, that is healthy, respectful, right? And that's the difference, guys. Ask yourself, is is my environment expanding me to become the person that I know I can become? Or is it shrinking me where I start to feel guilty about my desires? Is it shrinking me where people are taking me away from the path I truly want to be? Is it making my life harder than it needs to be? Run! The very reasons why you think you cannot do it are the very reasons why you must. That's how I operate, and that's how I've changed my life, and that's how I know that you can change your life too. So ask yourself those questions. If you are super brave, and I, by the way, courageous, we call the Jeremy Academy was designed for a reason because in my world, right, we're not about perfection. We're not about doing things perfectly or having everything together. It is just the courage to go for it. The courage to get up and go for it, fail, make mistakes, go again and again and again. And every failure and mistake, we learn lessons and we grow as a result. You go to the gym and you make a fool of yourself, you learn, you get better, the body becomes possible, right? That's how we operate. Yeah. Drink of water. Okay. Stick around, guys, because we're getting to the best part now. Getting to the best part. If you're feeling excited and motivated, by the way, maybe you're feeling a bit stressed, like, oh my God, Jared's like talking to the pains and my desires and then feeling the stress. That's a perfect spot because when you feel that tension, that means that that's a time for change, right? That difference. If you've been excited and activated, please let us know. Like, Jared, guys, I'm excited. I'm fucking gonna go for it. If you're feeling a bit nervous, like, Jared, this is like a lot to handle. I feel a bit overwhelmed. This is a lot. Actually, this is one other block I do want to share with you. All overwhelmed is, by the way, I used to feel overwhelmed all the time. And to be honest, I put myself in situations that overwhelm me still, but for very good reason. Sometimes people think of overwhelm as this thing of, my body is telling me that I can't do this. It is too much. It's not possible. There's too much information, too much energy. I can't handle it, right? Therefore, I'm going to give up. Remember the cycle, right? Motivation, start strong, and then overwhelm, resistance, collapse, and then restart. This is how I broke free. Instead of seeing overwhelm as a bad sign, this is the reframe I want to share with you. When I feel the surge of energy and overwhelm, instead of feeling overwhelmed, it is just a surge of abundance of energy. Overwhelm is a sign, Jared, you are about to grow. Jared, your capacity is stretching. Your capacity is stretching. As an example, in the gym, okay, let's say you feel self-conscious in the gym. This is specifically for some of you, by the way. Maybe you're like, I'm afraid of doing this exercise. I don't want to do it wrong. Don't want to injure myself. Don't want to get the technique off. Don't want to look stupid, right? I had all those thoughts. If you're inside the gym and you're seeing these guys like lifting heavy weights, you're like, oh my God, that is so weird and intimidating. I remember stepping foot inside the gym for the first time, first 20, 30 times, seeing the weight section, the big guys lifting weights, and I avoided that like the plague. So, that's scary. It's too much. What I realized though was when I became brave, right? Living brave, and I put myself in those situations more and more, my capacity grew. And every single time I either made a fool of myself, it wasn't a bad thing, because every single time my capacity was growing. I was building confidence. I wasn't just growing my muscle. I wasn't just shedding body fat. I wasn't just getting leaner, stronger, and more shredded. My identity, right? My capacity was growing. And that's the beautiful part is that when your capacity grows, right? When your capacity grows, then you can't go back. Because once your capacity truly grows, that's a permanent shift. Once you learn and exercise inside out and you've been in the gym enough times, you're just gonna start to look around and go, oh wow, this gym is not scary at all. It's not intimidating. hey, wait a second, guys. I love this place. I love working out, right? There's a shift, capacity. Capacity with dating. I remember when I first started putting myself out there on dates, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of rejection. What if I put myself out there and someone tells me that they don't like me? Worst comes to worst, someone says you're ugly or there's nothing cute about you, which I have heard in the past. Oh my God, if that's gonna break me. But guess what happened? When that broke me in the moment, and I cried, by the way, when my ex left me for his ex, I thought I was broken. I thought love was not possible for me. There's no good guys out there. This guy told me he loved me, and then he leaves and shatters my heart. Man, came in a jerks, right? That story didn't help me. But afterwards, from hindsight, I actually learned those were some of the best things that happened in my life. They didn't happen to me. They happened for me. I grew as a result. Jared Bruce Lee became who he is. Jared became the sort of man that was capable of holding a loving, beautiful marriage today of 5.5 years now, and nearly, I think we're celebrating 7 years together, about 30 days time, right? I became the man who could hold that as a result of those quote unquote bad experiences. So that's probably the next biggest thing. Like golden nugget is instead of how many people, right, see bad things as the terrible thing that happened to me, that told me that I can't have the body, that told me I can't have the love, that told me I can't have the income, the money, I can't have the impact, I can't have the career, right, can actually be the very stories that tell you that happens for you, for why you can. Those very all the old stories that hold me back were the very stories that I'm telling you right now that made all this quote unquote successes possible. All right. You guys are doing incredible. You guys are doing incredible. We're gonna go now. Two, the three fundamental layers of change. Because you, by the way, you guys are probably asking now, like, okay, so Jared, this all sounds incredible, right? But how do I actually do this? What am I missing? How do I do this? Or maybe you're feeling super motivated, like, Jared, come on, bring on the goods. I'm going to share with you. This is, by the way, this is going to be, this is not shared anywhere. And I'm going to share with you the secrets, why people fail, why people stay stuck, and how you can break free. There are three layers of change. Now, I've been doing this for quite some time, okay? And I have noticed I started with layer number one. Actually, that's a lie. Uh, by the way, if you guys want to, if you guys who here wants to create your dream body in 3, 4 months' time, and then by year one, year two, 3 years down the track, you lose it all and you go backwards. Who here wants to do that? Nobody. Okay. Now, I have been doing this a long time, and I have been in environments with athletes, with personal trainers, nutritionists, CEOs, doctors, right? Doesn't matter. I've seen so many people create quote unquote dream bodies, and then within the year, 2, 3 years, life gets busy, and then they quote unquote lose it all. And I find it very sad because what I've noticed is it's definitely not knowledge that creates the outcome. There's so much more to it. And I'm going to simplify it for you. Okay? I'm going to simplify it. Now, when I first started, I just gave the strategy. And the strategy, I'm just going to go with fitness first, body, because that's going to be the clearest. But we go into strategy for love, for business, for career as well. That's all one and the same thing with slight nuances and differences. But let's go with strategy. When I first started coaching 15 years ago, as a trainer. I just thought, okay, you just need the training plan, right? You just need the right nutrition, macros, right? Get that right. And you do that, you're good. You're gonna win. And when I did this, I had a lot of success with myself and with many clients. Clients lost weight, clients got fitter, got stronger. But unfortunately, and I'm sad for this, but also grateful for it because I learned a lot. For the first 3, 4 years of my personal training career, right, when I trained as a trainer, nutritionist, psychologist, because I was primarily applying these two things, and what I noticed was most guys, was the women I helped as well, even though they saw results in the few months, maybe 6, 7 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years down the track, they put all the weight back on. And that breaks my heart, by the way. By the way, that's not everybody. There were people who actually kept getting better, but there were more people than I prefer who actually backtracked. And that really breaks my heart because I feel like I failed them. Even though I know that's just a story, right? And I've changed that story, but I remember really feeling that guilt. And I see a lot in the industry too, where there's a lot of trainers, nutritionists, you've probably seen, right? A lot of people get in shape, lose it all, get in shape, lose it all, stay on stuck on the cycle. Now, if you want the strategy, just a strategy, right? You want the perfect workout plan, you want the perfect nutrition guidance. It is crucial because if you get these two things wrong, your body won't change. If you're drinking every weekend, if you're not getting enough protein, if you're not getting the carbs, the fat, the food choices right, if your training program isn't designed for you, you're working out too many hours on the wrong exercises, all right, doing too much cardio, not doing progressive overload, you're not doing the right things, you're not going to see results. However, that's level one. Most people stop here. Most people stop here and then stay stuck for years. And I want to make sure that you guys here, after listening today, this is going to help you, show you how you can make sure you're not one of them. So, my guess is you don't want to be in level one. Let's go lower, let's go deeper. Now, the next part, level two is mindset. Now, when I started coaching in the Darren Academy 5 years ago, I went deeper into mindset, right? This became a big part of what I do, especially with my training as a coach, right? To deeper training as a coach, and NLP training, in psychology, right? Further psychology training. Mindset was big. Now, what is mindset? This is important. If you think wrong, by quote unquote wrong, if you think in patterns that aren't helpful for you, right, you're not going to succeed. If you think about workouts as an example, a mindset shift for you right now. And I have to work out. I have to go to the gym. It sucks. I have to diet. I have to diet. I hate diets, by the way. Don't do diets. I have to diet to lose weight. I have to diet to build muscle, right? That mindset is not going to last you. Now, here's a better mindset, right? My shift. I get to work out. Man, guys, I get to go to the gym. I get to lift, do those dumbbell presses, work on my chest. I get to build my arms. Fuck yeah, I feel good. I get to eat, I get to nourish my body with healthy foods because I feel better. Oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. I get to experiment with different foods. I get to learn about macronutrients. I get to play with protein and carbs, right? I get to try out, test out different things of what feels good for my body. I get to. I get to eat healthier so I have more energy. That goes on for days. I get to eat in ways that gives me mental clarity that makes me the sharpest person in the room. I get to, right? Shift. When you start to work on your mindset, by the way, that's going to take you 10x better than somebody who's just done training and nutrition. And just by the way, by working, there's a lot of different mindset principles, right, that we cover inside my spaces, the Darren Academy, Phoenix, is when you work on your mindset, everything gets better. There's a domino effect. When you start to think differently about food and workouts, it doesn't just impact your body, but it has a domino effect on other areas of your life. Instead of, I have to go to my job. Oh man. It's like, hey, I get to, I get to show up at work and do work that is impactful. I get to change lives. I get to do something that's meaningful for me. And if not, I get to find out what that passion and drive is. Me showing up here for you guys, right? I've been showing up here at least once a week, every single week, live, right? For the past over 5 years now. Right? I get to serve men that I love. I get to help men change their lives in impactful ways. And holy moly, when they tell stories of finding love and getting fitter, healthier, stronger, going from body shame to looking themselves in the mirror. If you saw Jermaine re post recently, right, and Derek had like, I'm feeling more ease in my body than ever before. I'm like, hey, I get to. Isn't that a privilege? I get to. In your love life, instead of, oh man, I have to go on to dates to find love, right? Damn it. It's like I get to go on these messy dating situations where, yeah, you're gonna have some shitty dates. Yes, you may be ghosted. Yes, things may turn out terribly, but I get to put myself through these experiences where at some point when I show up powerfully enough in the version of me that can attract love in, right? That holds boundaries, that has self-worth, by the way, that we should cover. Um, love comes in. I get to do that. Mindset. Let me do a shake, by the way. By the way, we do shakes and dances here and there. This is one of the things we do because we move through energy, right? So many people have, we have like, when we're sitting for long times, or we're staying still for long times, energy gets stuck and we start to feel heavy, right? We don't lack energy. It's just actually moving through energy builds energy. Okay. By the way, this is something super important I want to cover is everything that I share here. Um, I'll give you one other nugget here. Sometimes people want you to be super mindful of who you absorb information from. And this is my promise I've made from the very beginning 15 years ago is that anything that I help people with, I must be in integrity with myself, meaning I must have done a few things. And this is how I want you to approach something here. We talked about environment earlier, right? Is who are you seeking information, advice, embodiment from? Now, the first question I ask, this is for every single mentor and community that I have invested into, are these questions. Question number one, does the person that I'm seeking advice from have what I desire? Does this person have what I desire? Meaning, you won't go to someone who is overweight and struggling with their health for years for fitness advice. Because even if they have the knowledge, right? Even if they know, they've read books about it, if they don't have the thing, right? It's very likely that you will absorb that energy and the information, all the other stuff that comes with it, right? You won't go to a broke person, a homeless person for financial advice, even if they've read financial books, but so that's something super important. Do they have what I want? I'm going to plug in my laptop. Do they have what I want? That's super important. Um, because if they don't have what I want, how can I expect to learn the right things? Number two, Let's say you're talking to somebody, you want to build an incredible body, right? And this guy is, say, let's say Arnold Schwarzenegger, or somebody is super fit. My second question is, have they been in my shoes or somewhat in my shoes? For example, if you struggle with body shame, has this person also struggled with body shame? Or has this person been an athlete their entire lives and been born with fit, healthy families, and it's always been easy for them? Because here's the problem, if somebody has always been fit and healthy, they've never experienced the other side, they may give the best advice, by the way, and they're gonna fucking know it, but they may not know, understand, and transition from where you are at to where you want to go. Third question. Has this person helped other people like me create the outcomes that I desire? Doesn't have to be the exact same person, right? But similar people. Meaning, if you want to put on muscle, right? Has this person helped other men put on muscle? Even better, other gay men, right? Has this person, if you want to find love, has this person found helped other people find love? If you want to make more money, has this person helped other people make more income, money? Right? Has this person done it? Because if this person, you know how they say if there's a talented singer or talented athlete, they may be very damn good at their stuff, but they haven't been able, they don't have yet the skill set of transferring those skills onto others. You're going to be in trouble. Right? If you can say yes to those things, then say, yeah, let's go. And I'm super adamant that everything I pass on, that everything I talk about is from my own personal experience, embodiment first, that I'm at least, I've lived through it, I'm living it, right? And I've passed it on to other people. This is why this works. Okay. And that's, by the way, that's giving a light bulb, right? By the way, by the way, this is something I've done in the past. I've asked, seek the wrong people for advice. The most expensive advice isn't advice. The most expensive advice is free advice from the wrong people. From the wrong people who love you very, very much. As an example, when I wanted to get fitter, healthier, stronger, I was like, hey, I want to build this body, right? Be as crazy, delusional. I want to end up on DNA Magazine, QWERTY, which happened. When I had those crazy ideas, I spoke first with some of the wrong people. By wrong people, I mean my mom, who I love so much. She's one of the most important people in the world. However, when I talked about it with my parents, I was like, Jared, stop lifting weights. It's going to make you shorter. You're already short. It's going to make you shorter. Like, oh, Jared, why are you making these different food choices? You should eat, these stir fries. And my dad, right? You should eat more cake and all the stuff. What's tapping me on my belly, right? If you speak with the wrong people who may love you and they want the best for you, but they don't have the understanding, the perspective right, you're going to get the wrong advice. And if I had listened to them, by the way, I would still be stuck. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, level three. Let's go to level three now. Is this incredible or incredible? This is one of the most important things, and this is identity. Now, identity is something I've been coaching for the past 3, 4 years, right? Really, when the Daring Academy started. The last one, secret one, I'm gonna learn about it. Super important, which is gonna dramatically shift things for you. But identity is how you see yourself. And what comes with this, right? What we call the subconscious, right? Subconscious stories that goes on. How do you see yourself? If you see yourself as the weak kid, if you see yourself as the shy, introverted guy who doesn't speak up, if you see yourself as the guy who's never going to put on muscle, if you see yourself as the guy who's always going to be overweight, if you see yourself as somebody who's, just always been found it hard to celebrate yourself, found it hard to go after what you want, and you keep that identity. I don't care how good this stuff is. The shift may happen. By the way, you may build a body. If you just do this, right? You may build a body in the next 3, 4 months. If you work on some mindset, you may actually keep it for some time, but you don't make a permanent shift in your identity, it's not going to last. Because what's going to happen is your old identity is going to pull you back, right? This is when you see somebody who gets in phenomenal shape for a year, right? And then 2 years down the track, they put it all the way back on and they get in great shape again. They put it all the way back on because the identity isn't shifting. So I want you, who here, by the way, wants to build the sort of identity that is powerful, unshakable, expressed, confident? Who wants to build the identity where your results will last? Everybody, let's go. Good. So I want you to drop it in Telegram chat, by the way. What is the identity you are claiming? What is the identity you want to become? Now, the next question that's going to come up is, how do I actually change my identity? The beautiful part. I'm going to give you the magic solution. This is what it did for me. You absolutely must surround yourself, back to the environment, with the right people who embody this already. If you are surrounded, imagine this for the next 300, for the next 12 months, imagine this. Let's go 2 years, 3 years, for the rest of your life. But let's just at least minimum, by the way, this is bare ass minimum. For the next 12 months, all of, or majority of the conversations you have are all about people who are going for it, who are getting fitter, healthier, stronger, who are building muscle, who are changing their habits, right? They're not drinking alcohol or drinking far less alcohol. They're making healthier food choices, still enjoying their food. They go to the gym and they're, yes, I'm feeling so good, right? I feel so good after the workout. Right? Hey guys, check my photos. I'm like, check out my abs, right? Oh my gosh, all my family, friends, they're all commenting on how much my body is changing. They're going like Jared or uh, Mike, Gabe, Nathan, or Simon. Wow, Justin. Wow, your body's really changing. How are you doing that, right? But that's all these conversations that's going on all the time. And then you're also hearing conversations of people who say, hey guys, I remember when I was really struggling with my body, like couldn't see myself in the mirror. I just always flinch a bit and feel uncomfortable. And guys, I'm healthier than ever. I look better than ever, right? I just went and wore these red board shorts and damn, I felt good for the first time. Imagine if that was your conversation. What is that going to do for your identity? Isn't that going to show you possibilities where you start to go, oh, I don't, I don't have to be my old self. What happens, guys, is that we alchemize, right? Acclimatize ourselves to our tribe. Our tribe meaning if we feel, the bell curve problem. I'll share with you guys this briefly. I'm gonna move on to the last bit. We're nearly there, team. If you guys can see this bell curve, okay. This was something actually spoken about with one of our men recently, but this is the problem. On a bell curve is, as we know, the middle, the average is the highest point, right? Gonna see if you guys can see that. Ah, the screen is not working. Let me come here. Okay, this is the average. I'm gonna give some statistics, by the way. Over 60% of Americans, by the way, but this is generally a lot of the first world countries are overweight. Over 40%, by the way, are obese. And there's more people than not are on medication, health challenges, struggling. Now, this is the problem. Is if your goal, by the way, if you want an extraordinary body, if you want a toned, fit, healthy, lean, strong, powerful, confident, vibrant, mobile, muscular physique, you are choosing to be over here. Okay? Ah, come on, you guys can't see that, can you? Ah, come on, let me see if we can change. You guys are choosing, you are asking to be over here on this side, to be better than the majority. Okay? And what's going to happen by tribe evolutionary terms is that when you break out of the tribe, right, when we start to walk out this way, guess what's going to happen? If most people that you are surrounded by are struggling with their health and weight and challenges, and those are the conversations you have, by the way, guess what happens when they see you start to make better choices? The questions come. I've experienced this and I hear this from guys all the time, and it's very sad because if you're not aware of this, if you don't bulletproof this, by the way, you get pulled backwards. You get those questions. Hey, do you think you're better than us? Hey, man, who do you think you are? Why are you eating healthier? Why are you rejecting cake? Well, you should drink more, right? And that is on top of your old identity. That is on top of your familiar self that is so comfortable with having those extra drinks, having those extra cake, skipping the gym. You've got your old identity pulling you away, and now you've got your environment, the tribe, right? When they make those comments, guess what happens to most people? Some people have said to me, "Hey, Jared, my family and friends, they're mocking me for losing weight. They're telling me I'm getting too skinny or telling me I'm getting too buff, muscular, right? You're trying too hard." And it breaks my heart because sometimes when that gets to somebody, they go, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't put in the energy. Maybe I shouldn't invest into myself. Maybe I'm doing too much. Let's go back to the tribe. At least, at least that's familiar. At least I'll be accepted. At least my family and friends and peers will accept me and they're familiar. They're used to the familiar version of me, right? I had classmates tell me, right, Jared, who do you think you are? You get fitter? Come on, man, look at you. Look at you, right? And I went back. I did go back until I bulletproof things. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how to bulletproof things. So how do you bulletproof things? If your goal is to be here, right? Come back here. If your goal is to create the extraordinary body, right? Or even not extra, if your goal is to have a healthy weight, you are still, you are still choosing to be over here. Because remember, over 60% of people in the first world are in unhealthy conditions. So if you want to be fit, healthy, strong, you are already breaking free from the tribe. And if the further you go, the more pull there is to pull you back. So how do you actually bulletproof that? You bulletproof things by surrounding yourself with people, conversations already with the identity where they're going to say, "Oh, you want to lose weight? Of course you can. Oh, you want to build muscle? Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go." Right? You want to what? Run a marathon? Of course. You want to compete in a powerlifting competition? Of course you can do that. You want to appear on magazines? Yeah. You want to be a fitness model? Yeah, let's go. You want to, right, fit into your clothing and feel good in Speedos? Yeah, let's go. Right? What, you're in your 50s and you want to look better than ever than your 30s? Yeah, of course, that's possible. When that becomes the normal conversation, right? You start to shift this way, and everybody is having these conversations here. You are no longer breaking from the tribe. Now your new tribe, right? for example, the Darren Academy, that you, when you have these conversations, your new tribe is having these conversations, then building your dream body, getting fitter, healthier, stronger, having more confidence, leading with desire becomes inevitable. It just becomes a matter of time. Okay? Keep that in mind. So that's identity, subconscious. All right, guys, we're gonna go to the last one. That's a lot of we got strategy, we got mindset, we got identity. Gonna give you the very last one, which I've been really hammering in on with clients in the last couple of years because it's dramatically changed my life further and further because I'm always growing, right? Always will quote here is it's limitless growth. When you are the courageous man that goes after your thing, there's no end point, right? It just gets better and better and better. So allow the whiteboard, jot down notes as you guys need. Actually, I'm gonna give you guys one last break, 2 minutes, before we finish off with this mammoth, beautiful, beautiful best part. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Last portion of the day. If you haven't yet, do a bit of a stretch. Do a shake off. By a shake off, by the way, is very healthy for you again. And just on your feet, especially if you don't have any knee joint issues, and you just bounce. Just bounce on the balls of your feet. Right? Let's see if I can change this a little bit. Just bounce and just shake off. Shake off. All right. Now, last section. This is the best part. Saving the best for last. Level 4. Now, by the way, I want to give some caveats here. If you just focus on the strategy, right? You have the strategy dialed in. You have an expert professional who's helped others just like you transform and they know what they talk about. They've done it multiple times before. You get the right strategy, the workouts, nutrition, right? If it's body, if it's business, career, love, the other strategies we can talk about. Um, but just for now, the body, you got the strategy right, you got the sleep right, the habits right. Um, Number two, level two, you've got the mindset, right? You are constantly evolving your mindset, right? I get to, right? I get to do this. That's just one piece mindset. I get to nourish my body. I don't need to restrict and diet and punish myself, right? I don't, working out is not punishment, but it's building my body, right? Resting and pouring energy into myself is good for myself and everybody involved. Those are the mindset shifts that creates long-term change. Now, level three, identity, you actually start to see yourself as the type of person who just exercises because that's part of who you are, that just chooses healthy meals majority of the times because that is who you are. You see yourself that looks after yourself, cares for your body because that's part of who you are. You see yourself as someone that does prioritize yourself because that is part of who you are. You just do those three levels, your body, by the way, you just do that consistently for the next 12 months, 14, 16, 18, 24 months. You are gonna crush it long term. Better than 99% of anybody, including trainers, nutritionists. Okay? And I really mean that. Doctors, therapists. I really mean that. Now, level four, though, is going to be the thing that brings it all together. At the most, the deepest level. Now, maybe you have tried. If you have tried all of the three above, by the way, which I doubt you have truly gone in deeply yet. If you haven't been in really truly transformative spaces for at least 12 months, but let's say you've done all those three and you're still like, hey, Jared, there's still some icky things that's getting in the way. Level four is it. And level four is what we call the nervous system and the baseline. And when we talk nervous system baseline, think about it as the memories inside our bodies. That is deeper than the conscious. We really go deep now. Now I'm going to give you an example. I, when I, hmm, in my love life, relationships, I was, I grew up in an environment, right, where there was violence involved. There were situations where my body felt unsafe and I had to freeze and tense. And before I did this work, and I still do this work every single day, by the way, because this only gets better, right? Before I did this work, my body was always tensing and on guard, always protecting. My mind would go to the dark places very easy and go to the negative places, and my body was living in fear, fight and flight. And unfortunately, especially for gay men, by the way, especially for gay men, if you've been any of these situations, you grew up in an environment where your sexuality was not affirmed, you're afraid to be who you truly are. If you were bullied or shamed at school by peers, by family members, whether directly or maybe just hearing comments, right? If you heard your parents shame gay people or friends or peers or on the news or media, right? If you have been in environments where speaking your truth, showing your emotions, crying, right, or laughing, right, being too loud to express was a bad thing, or even showing anger, right? If you were in positions where maybe showing your body was shamed, frowned upon, right? It's like, ugh, like don't be vain, right? Yeah, right. Maybe your parents had some body image challenges and you took that on, or maybe you had an ex, a partner, right? All these different things, especially by the way, between the years of 0 and 7, those are our most formative years. They create an imprint on our bodies. Now, before I did this work, my body was always in fight or flight, tensing, racing of the bad thing, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the bad thing to happen. And I was overly cautious because I saw my parents, my mom, very cautious for rightful reasons. You know, um, she had to be being in the environment that we were in. Now, if you can resonate with a little bit or a lot of this, right? Your mind is always looking out for fears, right? Constantly being on. This is what's going on. All those memories inside our bodies, 0 to 7, stored inside, hasn't had a time to be released. The emotions which were uncomfortable, maybe you wanted to cry, but you weren't allowed to. Maybe it wasn't safe for you to cry. Maybe you wanted to scream and yell, but it wasn't appropriate for you to scream and yell. You were told off. Those things don't just disappear. They get stored inside. What happens to our nervous system, which is just this simple term, spinal cord from the top of our brain all the way down to our tail that floods to all the nerves to every part of our body, central nervous system, right? If it's on all the time, stuck in what we call sympathetic, which is fight and flight, stress response, and you don't shift that, we don't raise the baseline, what's going to happen, and you may have experienced this, that cycle happens. We default. We collapse. Our lives don't rise to our dreams and visions. They collapse and fall to our standards, our baseline. Now, standards, by the way, isn't just a commitment of, hey, I'm gonna change my life. It's actually what our bodies feel safe inside. And unless we help you shift your nervous system and your baseline so that your body feels safe to look and feel incredible, your body feels safe to be in a loving relationship with your partner, actually respects you, actually have your best interest at heart, that loves you, that is attracted to you, that finds you sexy, right? That wants to be with you and desires to be with you, unless your nervous system feels safe for that, unless your nervous system feels safe for more opportunities to come in, whether promotions in your career to be seen with more people looking at you or paying you large sums of money, right? Unless those things happen, anything else above, still, you'll find yourself dropping. Now, there are a few ways to shift our nervous system. Breath is one of them. Breath work, release, all the heavy stuff, right? And again, surrounding yourself with people. By the way, there's a thing called nervous system acclimatization. So when you are surrounded by people who have calm, regulated nervous systems, what happens is that you start to become regulate. If everybody around you is feels good working out and they are showing up and it's normal, it starts to regulate in yourself too when it becomes normal. If everybody around you are building healthy relationships, right, and that happens long enough, regulates. But the fastest way that we expedite this process is through the breath, through visualization, what we call somatic work, getting you inside our bodies, right? And we do this on a monthly minimum, a weekly basis, right? Is that you shift your state and things shift. From doing this work, by the way, raising my baseline, if you raise your baseline, regulate the nervous system, you do all the other levels, one, two, three, game over. You can create anything as the whole game man, as the whole game man. Or I want you guys to think now, like, hey, your dream body, right? The dream love life, the dream career. It is no longer a dream. It actually just becomes inevitable, but a matter of time. All right, if you have made it this far, you already know that this isn't just about a workout plan, a diet plan. You have seen the patterns, the restarting, the dropping off, the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. Now, the truth is, nothing changes until you decide to stop living at that lower standard. At some point, you gotta stop asking, what is the best plan? What's the perfect strategy? What should I do next? And the man decides, this is who I am now. A man who follows through, a man who trains, a man who takes care of his body, a man who holds himself to a higher standard, regardless of how he feels, regardless of what is going on around him. Because that's what this really is. This is identity, it's baseline, it's the standards you are willing to live at every single day. Now, here's the part that most people avoid. This is not for everyone. If you are looking for another quick fix, another surface level plan, something you can try for a few weeks and then drop and go back to square one. This is not it. But if you are the kind of man who knows, I am done repeating the same cycle. I am ready to actually lock this in so that I create permanent shifts in my results. I want to feel proud of my body, my habits, myself, and I show up every day. I want to find the version of me that I can see myself in the mirror and feel pride and joy, fulfillment, expression. I want my whole life to expand. Then this is exactly what I help gay men do. Inside the Daring Academy, this is where we take everything that you have just learned and actually integrate it. Not just what to eat, though we do cover that. Not just how to train in ways that best serves you specifically so you can create the results you want, though we do cover that. Not just the science of transformation, macronutrients, progressive overload, how your body actually works, sleep habits, right? Self-care habits, recovery, but how to truly shift your identity. How we raise your baseline so that all of this becomes the default that you fall back to, even when life gets busy and stressful. How to build consistency that actually lasts long term. How to become the man who follows through naturally. Now, this is where your body changes, your confidence expands and grows, your standards change, your life changes, and we go for limitless growth with a growth mindset where life just keeps on getting better. You have heard the concepts. Now it is about execution. So if you are ready for that, there's a link here below this video where you can apply for a spot inside the Daring Academy. And we're going to see if this is a good fit. Take your time, but don't overthink it. You already know if this is for you. The only question is, are you going to keep restarting or hoping or maybe someday? Or are you finally going to lock it in so that this just becomes your true reality? I will see you inside.